Hello, Chris, my man. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. I really appreciate the time and being here. I'm excited about it. So thank you for that.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much, my man, for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Chris, oftentimes I love to thank my guests for two things. And
Mm.
I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Chris, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You
Mm.
see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Chris, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, my man, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Chris, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Chris, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Chris. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such
Mm.
a lovely experience that day, and I was so excited. Here's my point:
Well,
the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Chris that you are today.
mm,
That alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit
mm,
of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insights, the impact your work is having. And now you are offering your solutions, my man. These stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Chris is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to look selfish, and even with the audience. And here we are
mhm,
today with the amazing Chris. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said
mm.
nope, there was nothing Elijah could do about it. Nothing. Thanks so much, my man.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you too. So let's get started. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today, Chris, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. See, I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Chris, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness, ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second
Mhm,
reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Chris on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, my man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got
mhm,
lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, my man, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Chris, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how
mm.
Chris got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Chris, my man, over to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate the perspective as well. I think it's really important. So how did I get here? So let me give you the quick version. So um, my wife and I dated through high school. We got married right after high school. We've been
Mm-hmm.
married for almost 30 years now. So it's been an amazing journey. We've got 4 kids. And right at the beginning, right after I graduated high school, I started going to college and I had an amazing opportunity to get started in entrepreneurship. I took that opportunity, dropped out of school after a year, and have found myself a serial entrepreneur ever since. We have launched, most of them not successful, some of them successful. At this point, 15 or 16 different businesses over that 30-year period, my wife and I.
Amazing.
And it's
Amazing.
been really pretty crazy experience. And I've learned a lot of things from that experience. And about 15 years ago, I was working in an organization where we were helping people. We're helping thought leaders, is what we didn't used to call them that, but that's what they're called now. We're helping thought leaders take their intellectual property and bring it to the world. And in that work that we were doing, we were providing tools for them. And I began to develop what is now the Nexus Profile. And that is how the human nexus, the organization, and the Nexus Profile assessment got started. It originally was developed as a set of business tools. But as we were developing, it became more and more profoundly impactful on my marriage, understanding the differences between my wife and myself and our children. And then we began to recognize and realize that essentially at the core of every single part of everyone's life is this reality that we're all wired with a certain set of motivational drivers. And what we found is that most people believe that they're either missing already or they're going to miss the life that they were supposed to have, the life they were meant to have. And so what we do is we use these tools. We've been doing this now for about 15 years as one of the main things that we do. We use them to help people understand how they're wired, understand their own motivational drivers, understand those of the people around them, and unlock and give them permission to really be who they were designed to be. And what we found is that as you do that, essentially, this sounds kind of crazy, but it is proven to be true. Essentially, every area of life will improve and eventually thrive if you're starting from a core understanding of how God has made you, how you're designed, how you're wired, and how you approach the world, and then that of those around you. So, um, that's the thing that is a massive focus for us right now. And I would say that journey is probably the biggest contributing factor to why I'm on this podcast with you right at this very moment.
Mm, amazing, my man. You see, what you're doing is not just helping several individuals become who they were originally born to be, but
Mm-hmm.
you are contributing to the progress of the world globally. I tell you, because a lot of people are malfunctioning, and by that I mean a lot of people are currently stuck in doing something they weren't born to do or designed to be. So with what you're doing now, this amazing stuff that you're doing, you're actually creating this massive and wonderful impact. So I truly appreciate what you're doing and yourself and your
Thank you.
wife, and it's beautiful. And I love the fact that you're so consistent and you're clear what you want to achieve, and that's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about motivation. I want us to pick the first question from there. So
Yeah.
what do people misunderstand about motivation?
Yeah. So that is a really good question. So when we talk about motivation from the standpoint of motivational drivers, um, what we really mean by that from kind of like a psychology perspective is um, essentially, let me explain it this way. The way most psychological evaluations, most assessments like DISC, StrengthsFinder, Myers-Briggs, all of these, essentially what they do when they're trying to help someone understand themselves is they create a set of context based questions. So for example, let's say you and I were at lunch together And during that lunch, I spilled food all over myself, just like it's super embarrassing and it went everywhere. The way that these assessments all work is they say, what are you going to do about it? Do you, let's say, A, try to make me feel better because you can tell I'm embarrassed? Maybe B, you go get someone to help clean up. Maybe C, you start cleaning up. Start cleaning up the mess yourself. Maybe D, you just laugh. I don't know. And then you answer. And then based on that answer, give kind of a psychological measurement of that behavior. The problem with that is that it's not necessarily an accurate reflection of how you're wired inside. It is not necessarily an inaccurate reflection of what you might do. It might be exactly what you would do in real life, but it's not necessarily how you're wired, because we have the context of the way we grew up, our household of origin, our whole being, all of the examples of the people around us that have inspired us, which is not bad, how they behaved. And so we learned what we do is we immediately start cleaning up, let's say. But maybe you're actually wired because you can tell I'm embarrassed. Maybe you're wired to try and comfort me, make me feel better because you can tell it's super embarrassing. My face is turning red. It's like horrible. But you learned the right response is to clean up. And so you're living in authentically to who you are. Now, it's not necessarily bad, but not understanding that is where the real problem is, because maybe culturally the right thing is to clean up. But once you understand the truth about how you're wired, then you're deciding based on a knowledge of who you actually are, how you're wired deep inside. What we found is this doesn't change over time. You can mature, you can evolve, you can learn, you can figure out what's appropriate and things like that. But the way you're wired inside from a motivational driver standpoint doesn't change. So now you're actually making an informed decision, and you may say, well, inside me, I'd like to comfort Chris because I can tell he's super embarrassed, but I know what's appropriate right now in this restaurant, in this culture, in this context is I'm going to help clean up this, right now. And I'm no longer not being true to who I am. I am now equipped and understanding who I am, and I'm doing and making a decision on purpose about that. When you do that, when you have that awareness, that's where the unbelievable unlock happens.
The awareness. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I got that. I got that. And that's a powerful one. Thank you for sharing that. So, earlier you mentioned about being a serial entrepreneur. So I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ask, what is the hardest part of being a serial entrepreneur?
Well, that's another really good question. I would say that over the years, I've had a lot of opportunity. I do a lot of coaching and a lot of mentoring. And a lot of times this comes from people that want to become entrepreneurs. And what I have found most of the time, and what I often find myself recommending, is someone basically doesn't like their job that they're in. They watch Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and they're like, wow, look at all these people that don't seem to really work and they make lots of money, which is basically almost always fake, almost always. And they say, man, I'd like to be an entrepreneur. It's a great buzzword. 30 years ago, it really wasn't like it is now. And when I interview them, what I find is that they really just want freedom to have creative space that's in alignment with who they are. That's not
Hmm.
entrepreneurship. What I tell people like that is, hey, work hard at your job, excel at your job, don't leave your job, and create.
Hmm. Yes. Yes. So how do you balance work and family? Mm, mm, I got that. I got that. So we have two more to go. So you talked about Nexus earlier. So how can leaders use the Nexus profile? Thank you. Mm, mm. Wow. I think every leader needs that. That's a beautiful word, and thank you for coming up with that. I'm gonna take that as a final thought, my man. So for folks who would like to reach out to you, Chris, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions, be a part of your programs or your services, how can that be possible? Amazing. And what's the title of your book again? That's a powerful title, and that sounds very beautiful. Thank you for writing that. So that's going to be the end of the show, Chris. Thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, my man. Thank you.